So, hello everyone, my name is Stuffin' Your Muffin. I do Clash of Clans on Twitch, and this will be my first YouTube video that I'm making for Clash of Clans. Today I'm going to be talking about my army and the tactics that I use in using this army. This army is designed to break into someone's base and go after their dark elixir. That's pretty much the main goal, is get to the center of someone's base, get to their dark elixir. The first video I'm going to show, attacking a Town Hall 8, because generally speaking you should be attacking someone who's one Town Hall underneath you. Unless they just have a horrible base, then you can attack someone who's the same level as you. So the first thing that you should do with this army when you're using, the reason that I have 90 Barbarians is so that way I can use about 50 of them or so to clear off all of the outside buildings. The reason why you need to clear off the outside buildings is so that way your Barbarian King, who has the same targeting system as a normal Barbarian, go into the base instead of around. If you were to try and just take out, say, this collector to this collector, then what would happen is your Barbarian King dropped at this tree trunk, would walk around and start attacking these barracks over here instead of going inward. Wallbreakers help with this as well. If you're not using wallbreakers, then you have to be extremely careful about when you drop your Barbarian King, otherwise, because the walls will make him go around. First thing you want to do is clear off a big chunk with your Barbarians. And this is when you want to be using your wall breakers as well. If you try to use your wall breakers just by themselves, then what will happen is an archer tower or a cannon or something like that will shoot them and kill them. Now, when you use your wall breakers, when other units are on the field, you have to be careful about mortar shots. Uh, you know, cannons and archer towers will shoot at barbarians and will kill off. They'll be shooting at a barbarian while the wall breakers go off. Now, mortar shots can hit at exact moments to kill off wall breakers, which can be bad. So you pick one side of the base that you want to assault from. I decided to assault from the bottom because there was 2 dark drills down here on the bottom, and I was going to get to the center of his base no matter where I went from. If the dark drills were not full, I would have probably assaulted from this side of the base to get to the dark elixir quicker. But I decided from the bottom. I have wall breakers blow up this corner right here, and then I send about half of my giants. This is a lower level base. I'm not too terribly concerned about whether or not I'm going to get to the center. I'm like, 99% positive before this attack even started that I'm going to get to my goal. That's why I did half giants on each side versus dropping all of the giants at once. I wanted to snipe off a little bit of this with archers so that way I could continue with my giants going this way, even though I put them in separate spots. You don't want your giants going separate directions because the single target towers such as archers and cannons and such will pick your giants off if there's not enough of them. When your giants are clumped up, you need to be careful about wizard towers. So one thing I do want to talk about in my tactics with this is the fact that whenever a barbarian king swings his sword and does his DPS, now the number of the damage unit in this game is DPS. It doesn't show damage per hit, because then you would have to have another unit of attacks per second, and then people would have to do the math anyways. So they just do DPS to simplify it and to accurately display the amount of damage that every single unit does. High DPS units such as the Barbarian King, they attack about once per second is each swing of the sword, which means whatever his DPS is literally how much damage he does per swing. Now, if a Barbarian King hits for 150 damage, but he's only hitting an archer that has 50 HP, that means 100 damage is wasted. Now, if he's swinging at a giant with 900 HP, or a king that has 1700 HP, then that DPS is fully applied with each swing. And that can be demonstrated right here. Whenever the Barbarian Kings start going back and forth, you'll see my Barbarian King's HP they're going down very quickly. That each swing is doing full damage. If each of those swings was hitting against an archer, it would basically be worthless. Um, so that's why you generally speaking you don't want your high HP units like giants and heroes to be getting hit by the other person's heroes. Again, this is a Town Hall 8. I'm a Town Hall 9, which means that I should be able to do this. If you're really struggling with getting to Dark Elixirs, then you need to rework your attacks and worry about and just change how you're doing things. Once the Archer Queen and Barbarian King get to the center of the base, it's pretty much game over. I'm guaranteed. I got to the Dark Elixir, and then I'm just going to get the last of the resources in these with my towers. But the general consensus of what my attack consists of is Barbarians on the outside, Wallbreaker as much as you can. If you have 8 Wallbreakers and you blow up this corner, keep using the rest of your Wallbreakers to keep blowing up more corners because that's just going to help you greatly in the future. But if it takes you 8 Wallbreakers to get this corner, then that's fine. But you definitely do want to go through all your Wallbreakers because there's no harm. Actually, you can mess up if you drop your Wallbreakers in such a way that maybe if I attacked from this corner over here, and then I blew up this right here, and then I went over and blew up this, my giants might kill this and come out over here versus going inwards. So you do need to be careful about blowing up the wrong area. But for the most part, you definitely want to use all of your Wallbreakers to fully penetrate someone's base. The next video I'm going to show is a little bit different because in this video, the person has quit, but they quit recently enough that they still have resources in their storages. So what you want to do is drop a couple of barbarians, between 5 and 8 barbarians at each collector. This will kill off that collector guaranteed. If you drop like 3 or 4, it might get the collector, it might not. But if you drop 5 to 8, you're guaranteed to get that collector and not have to worry about it in the future. So you drop 5 to 8 barbarians at each of the gold collectors around the base, over here, and then down here as well. Now, the other collectors are back here behind this, and we have one dark drill here and one dark drill here. Now, the dark storage was over here. So I decided to go at this gold collector right here as my primary attack target and location of my frontal assault. I could have possibly used this right here to get into his base easily, but because I'm using Wallbreakers, I was not worried about, the shape of his base. And generally speaking, people are going to have spring traps in these spots, so it's dangerous to go in them. Now, when someone has quit, that means they didn't reset their traps, so you can actually abuse these as good tunnels. I could have just dropped all of my giants here, and they would have fully gone in right through this tunnel and cleared this all out. That would have been a good idea, but I decided to go after this because generally speaking, I tend to avoid these as much as possible because they're scary and can do things, horrible things can happen to your army when you use them. But since this is someone who would quit, that could have been a very good path to take. I honestly did not see that until now. But I decided to assault at this last gold and the dark drill right here instead. You use barbarians on the outside like always to clear off all this. I get very low on barbarians because I was sniping off all these buildings over here. So I end up getting very low on barbarians, but as your barbarians are dropped in here, that's when you want to start using the Wallbreakers. As I said, basically out of barbarians at this point. I saved the last 8 because I want to know where my barbarian king is going to go. And when you drop a barbarian, the king will have the exact same targeting path as the normal barbarian. So you can always guarantee that your barbarian king will go the exact same way that your barbarians do. Now, as I was saying on the last attack, if you have your barbarian king on the edge of your base, it can get killed by barbarians. But since it's a little bit deeper in the base, it's going to be attacking the high HP targets that are giants. So each attack is going to do way more effective damage, or each swing of his sword is going to do way more effective damage. Now, it was a little dangerous sending my Barbarian King after his Barbarian King. Because of that last video, you saw how much damage it can do. But since he was distracted by the giants, it turns out okay. It also leads my Barbarian King into the center of the base. Now, when I kill off this clan castle right here, just in case my king, wants to come out. I kill this clan castle so that way it guarantees that he goes in, because he's going to target the nearest thing to him. That's why I wanted to kill this off, the guarantee goes in. Now, I dropped my queen right in this area. If I would have dropped her a little bit higher, she would have killed off these two towers and then worked her way inwards. But I dropped her a little too low, so she goes after this air defense and then over here. Either way, I do get to my storage, but if she would went up this way, I might have gotten to both. You never know. But basically, these towers over here start shooting at her, whereas if she had gone this way, as these towers are killing the Barbarian King, she would have been doing damage to them and clearing them out. So as I said, I dropped her right here. If I would have dropped her over here to kill off these towers, that probably would have been more successful. The major problem with what happens is the fact that this dies at the same time that this dies. So her targeting preference is this storage way over here, or the Barbarian King platform right here. She shoots the Barbarian King and then goes this way instead of going this way. The unfortunate thing of just change of directions. And now at this point, her targeting preference, the storage is too far away, so her targeting preference is to go through this wall to get to these. So right at this moment, when this Barbarian King is taking all this damage, this cannon is also shooting at my Archer Queen. If she had gone up here to this side, then these towers would have been attacking him, and she would have been at full HP doing damage to all of this. She probably would have killed these as well. It was unfortunate that she went down to the bomb site, but I get the storage either way. Now, this attack that I'm about to show is against someone who is a Town Hall 9, and I forget to, my Archer Queen was down at this time, simply because I was attacked and she died during the attack, and the Barbarian King survived the attack. So whenever I got online, I didn't pay attention to that, and I attacked without her. Now, you Barbarian from about this barracks over to this Stark Drill, so that way the Barbarian King can go inwards, like always. I use Wallbreakers to expose. Basically, I don't really care about this corner going off, but I know that my Wallbreakers will go after it. If I drop them over here, they'll run over to that anyways before going in. So you may as well drop them right next to it to blow it up. And then I can get my Wallbreakers to come inwards and take out towards this mortar. Now this Wizard Tower starts shooting at them and gets it off. So I had to use more Wallbreakers to attack inwards. Always drop at least 2 Wallbreakers at a time, because sometimes they will die. And if you're trying to drop them one at a time, even if one will kill the wall, the towers will have time to kill it. But if you drop 2, then the one can die and the second one can go off. So right here, I have a clear path for my Barbarian King to go into the base instead of going around. I use these archers to clear off this archer tower just to 100% guarantee that there's no reason why my Barbarian King would ever leave the base. If this archer tower was here, there could be some stupid reason why the Barbarian King would go all the way out and around to attack it. Just there's timings. The computer that controls the Barbarian King does math and tells it whether or not it's quicker to go through this wall to get here, or if it's quicker to walk around. So it depends on what level your walls are as well. I do believe that the game takes into consideration how much time or how much HP a wall has. So right here, if I had had my Archer Queen, then I could have dropped her like I would have dropped her a little bit ago. Basically, whenever this wall went down and the Barbarian King went this way, would be a good time to drop the Archer Queen, because this Expo is shooting up here. This Archer tower is too far away, same with this cannon. The only thing that would have been shooting at the Archer Queen would have been this wizard tower, maybe this mortar. By the time the Barbarian King would die, this storage and this Dark Elixir storage would also have been dead. And so she would have maybe killed this Expo and then just continued through the base, maybe by some magical chance of gotten to this storage, but guaranteed if I would have had my Archer Queen, I would have gotten the Dark Elixir and the gold right here. And that is pretty much my general tactics for attacking.